Page 76. How did you get it unlocked? Henrietta asked. I don't think it was locked, Henry said. It must have just been stuck. I leaned on it to look through the glass and it came open. Henrietta's hair was coming loose in the front. She brushed it back and put her eyebrows up. It's magic, she said. We can't pretend it's not. It's a magic cupboard. They're probably all magic. Henry shifted on the bed and looked away. I don't think it's magic, he said. I think it's just something really unusual. Henry, Henrietta said. She leaned forward and spoke slowly. It's not raining outside, and we don't have any trees back there. I know, Henry said. I just think it's something like quantum. What's quantum? Henrietta asked. Well, Henry said, my dad said it's when things can sometimes be where they aren't, or two places at once. Sounds like magic. No, it's natural, Henry said. He was rocking nervously. It just happens. You can make something like quantum, Henrietta asked. It's only for really little things. Cupboards. The cupboard's little. No, Henry said. Really little. And trees and rains and wind aren't little. Okay, they're too big to be quantum, Henrietta said, so it has to be magic. Henry wasn't sure what to say. He would have liked to discover that the whole thing was just some sort of trick, that he wouldn't really be sleeping beside a bunch of magic cupboards, but he didn't know any other way to explain what had just happened. I don't know, he finally said. Henrietta shivered suddenly and bounced up on her knees and focused her wide eyes on Henry. Aren't you excited to see what's behind the other doors? There could be all sorts of things. Henry sat very still. Aren't you scared at all? He asked. I mean, we might find something bad. Everybody always finds bad things, she said. And things only get hidden like this if they're really bad or really good. She bounced again. We'll just have to find out. I don't know, Henry said again. Despite his concerns, he was truly curious about the cupboards. He knew that if they got the other one open, he would be terrified. But he would be sick with himself if he didn't try. Do you think the key opens another one? Henrietta pointed to it. Henry looked down at the key in his hand. He was about to say, I don't know, for the third time, when a rumbling, motorcycle-sounding engine fired up at the bottom of his stairs. Shoving the key in his pocket, he and Henrietta scrambled down the stairs. At the bottom, they found Uncle Frank wearing plastic goggles and standing in front of Grandfather's door with a chainsaw. He began singing something, then braced himself and pulled the trigger. As a cloud of black smoke blew out of the back of the saw, the chain blade spun into loud motion. He leaned the blade back and slowly lowered it onto the floor. When it touched, wood chips began to fly all over the landing. It looked like Frank was fighting to keep the blade from sliding. It began to skid, and Frank spread his legs a little more. Then the saw caught on something and kicked back. The full force of the spinning chain threw Frank against the wall. He jumped as the saw barely left his hand, swung down toward his leg. It didn't hit them, but its nose caught the floor. In one short second, the saw dug itself in, shredding and wrapping long strands of green carpet around itself. There, nestled cozily into the floor, it idled. Panting, Frank reached down and turned off the engine. Dottie was at the top of the stairs. She looked at Frank, then saw the saw burrowed into the landing. She looked at Frank again. Time to go, she said. We're due at the barbecue. You okay, Frank? Frank rubbed his cheek on his arm. My pride is on the lower end, he said. Floor bit dinged. He reached down and pulled at the quiet saw. It wouldn't budge. I'll cut it out later, Dots. Sorry about, He sighed and put his hands on his forehead. I figure I'll have to go through the bathroom wall. Mr. Willis, Aunt Dottie said, I'm not sure if the house will survive you. Now, I think you need a hot dog. Frank seemed relieved. Come on, kids, Dottie added. We're gonna be late for the barbecue." Henry and Henrietta followed her down the stairs, glancing back at Grandfather's door and the saw. Frank came behind, still wearing his goggles. There were wood chips in his hair. Page 76. "How did you get it unlocked?" Henrietta asked. "I don't think it was locked," Henry said. "It must have just been stuck. I leaned on it to look through the glass, and it came open." Henrietta's hair was coming loose in the front. She brushed it back and put her eyebrows up.